Hello and welcome to Soul Love with Kimness. I am Kim van der Zande, your host, and I'm super excited to share another episode of Soul Love with you, where we share inspirational and empowering stories from the heart. We talk about the beauty and the shadows as both are part of the ascension journey, to remind you that you are powerful, you are magical, and to have trust in what you feel to be true deep within. Enjoy this next episode of Soul Love. Before we start the next Soul Love conversation, I want to invite you to check out my amazing book, Activating the Flower of Love, a sacred guide for manifesting your deepest desires and highest calling. This sacred book, filled with powerful tools and activations, will guide you to open your heart to the beauty and wisdom within you, empowering you to create the life you deeply desire from the foundation of love. You can find Activating the Flower of Love in all the major online and offline bookstores in ebook or paperback, or you can check it out through my website, kimness.nl, where you can also discover the different ways of working with me and the latest updates on new starting programs. Enjoy this next episode of Soul Love. Welcome everyone to a new Soul Love episode, and today I have the honor to share a sacred space with my beautiful soul sister Lara Staisiunas. I hope I pronounced your last name correctly, but welcome to the sacred space.
Very good, yeah. Thank you so much. I just love being here with you, Kim. I could talk to you all day.
Yeah, me too. We both have the creative spark, and it's a beautiful. Yes. Yeah, we already had a beautiful conversation prior. But I love your background, and you just shared they are all your own creations and all your own.
Yes.
Yeah. And
yeah.
As we are, as we are also coming closer to tomorrow, tonight, the full moon, I can feel the energy. Maybe you have created a beautiful card deck. Maybe we want to start this podcast episode with you drawing a card, but that is aligned for this full moon, as we all going through our own inner processes.
The card deck, it's funny. I have never in a million years did I ever think I would be able to create, produce, and share card deck. I mean, really? I have seen, ever since decks came out, and I found them in my life. I always loved them, but I never thought I had it within myself.
Oh, wow.
And I have a very hardcore science math background. I'm very full.
Yes.
And, and then my transformation kind of, my spiritual transformation just kept on going and going and going. And I always loved to be creative. I always loved working with my hands. I always loved making things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the funny thing is, I never painted. Out of everything that I've done, I'll create stained glass, fused glass, books, paper, or handmade papers. I like all of it, and I don't draw either. I mean, no. I draw smiley faces, and the smiley faces with curly hair.
Yeah,
that's as much as I can draw, and I don't paint. So what do? I create this deck with paints, and I'm like, oh my God, this is what I'm supposed to do. And it just started to evolve. I took one class.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what? Yeah, it's okay. I'm like, I don't know why I'm here. Maybe I'll make some greeting cards, or maybe I can use it for a bag. Never thinking. I put it down for a year.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden it's something that I hate to use the word download, but it was like awareness. Everything started to pull together, and I'm like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
I love that. Yeah.
So I made all of these different, the colors. I don't have a color theory background. Everything just started to emerge with this.
Yeah.
And I always kept a list of like sacred words, like after yoga or something a different word might hit. And I had this little booklet. So I always just kind of like write or scribble, or if I heard, heard a podcast, and all of a sudden something kind of rang true to me, I would write the word down. And all I'm like, I have the artwork, I have the work, boom. And
it all came together. Yeah. But I love that because you followed your inspiration in each and every moment, even though it was not always from your mind practical. You thought, why am I doing this? And because just in general, life is constantly guiding us, but sometimes we don't have the whole, most of the time, we don't have the whole picture yet. But then it's trusting, like you going to this painting class, just following your inspiration, not knowing. And also, I think that's an important lesson as well. We do not have to do productive things the whole day. And most of the time later in your life, you will understand why certain things came on your path. But it is also detaching from, okay, everything we need to do needs to end to something, or needs to it's working towards a goal. Now we can also just have fun and be creative. And
and you know what, too? You know what it is also, Kim, is let go of the timing and let go of expectations.
Yeah, and that's the most hard part, because it's really stepping into the knowing and the trust. But yes,
it's very hard for me, because I was always a planner. I would, boom, 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 boom. I was in healthcare, so we had this, we had this, we had this protocol. This, I mean, it was like, So I'm still working. I mean, that's still one of my life lessons that I just need to let go. And you know, if the door opens, it's your door.
It is, I love it. So but you created how many cards are within your deck? Because you created everything, like the paintings
I have 44 cards.
Wow. Yeah.
And then what I did was, it's kind of funny. I had all of my paintings all done. And then I had my words, so I put little words like little pieces of paper, you know, like fortune cookie size paper.
Yes.
So I had these, and I'm like, okay. And I would ask the card, who are you? Yes. And so a card would say, you know, like, this is my integrity card.
Beautiful. Yes. I also love the circle. Yeah. Yeah.
And some I do infuse with sacred geometry symbols. Beautiful. And some of them, they're like, no, I'm fine. You know, so it was like this conversation. So these are like my little friends. These are like my peeps, you know, that just speak to me. And then when I started, so many people, when they have the cards, they said, did you see the picture? Did you see the face in this one? Or did you see the animal in this? And all of a sudden these start to come out. Yeah. All of this starts to come out.
Yes. But I love that, because in general, when we create something, that's also within my book and with other things, the creation is one and bringing it into form, but then it starts to live, and then we start to co-create with it, and it becomes an embodied part. So I love also, as you shared with your cards, the moment they came out, they came to life, and suddenly we see things within them, and we feel and we sense, because then the real journey starts. It is one thing to bring it into form, to download it or whatever, to receive the inspiration and create. But the moment it is in physical form, that is the next step of the journey. So I love that. Amazing. Yeah. So which card wants to play for this full moon?
Okay, let's see. So I'm shuffling, and then you just tell me. You just tell me to stop, and then we'll see. Okay.
Yes. Let's see.
Create.
Well, that is so aligned. Beautiful.
We're talking about creation.
Yes.
And the message is, pay attention to the simple sparks of insight. The creative process comes in different ways, perhaps through a feeling or a random thought. You must take action to create a shift.
Yes.
So it's also creating your transformation.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
You know?
What sparked it for you, especially because you came out of this world that is very of planning and out of healthcare system? And what sparked for you to, because you are Akashic Records master, you're Reiki master, what sparked this journey for you to combine both, or to step out in this different way of being you and coming home within your essence?
I would say, you know, the funny thing is my I'll call it my initiation, my opening.
Yes.
Was through dreams and how to read auras.
Oh, beautiful.
And it was taught by 2 nuns.
Wow.
And these nuns were mystics. I mean, they were like, you know, And I still use the dream analysis that I was taught. And the nun that taught how to read auras taught it in terms of energy.
Yeah.
And that aligned with my scientific background about energy. And I'm like,
yes,
that was my aha. That was my, of course, that was my,
yeah.
And I couldn't get enough. And then I just kept on going and going and going and going, you know,
Yes,
it's like
beautiful.
past lives and this and my shamanism and you know, like everything else. And then it's funny because I always still had that creative, ever since I was little, I love to draw, paint, you know, things like that.
Yeah.
And then, you know, and then all of this, little by little, you know, like I'm doing more and more like, I'm making handmade books.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I'm making in different ways, different teachers are, you know, like are showing up and I'm creating.
Yeah.
And when I make it, you know, they're like blessing. I put my blessings in here.
Amazing.
You know, and so people can feel that. So it's my energy is all imbued in all of my products. I make my pendants out of fused glass.
Yeah.
And that has the sacred energy, you know, the sacred geometry infused in there. And so like a part of me is going to you. It's like,
yeah.
And I know the right person will get the right,
yes,
I don't want to say product, but the right piece that whatever I create.
But how did you came into that trust? How did you, because I think there was also maybe a transition period where you from being a full-time in healthcare to where you are today, and yes, the creativity, but how, like what was there a step for you to take to come out of, to really also express your card deck and the book and all these creative things, and talking about energy in the world where, you for a lot of time was active.
It's funny here. I was in healthcare, and I went through a healthcare crisis, and it was extreme.
Yeah.
And so as much as I had that traditional healthcare, I knew there was more.
Yeah.
And I used the Akashic records. I went in there. I went in there every day for healing. It's just self-healing. Yeah. And that led to greater trust into the unknown, into source.
Yeah.
You know,
because then you can also see the results yourself. And that's what it is.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about the records, but also they are empowering tools for ourselves. We can go and recollect parts of ourselves and heal parts of ourselves. That's also how we met each other, through practicing the Akashic records with each other. And it's beautiful, but it's a beautiful tool. Yeah.
And sometimes and sometimes I'll just go and, and ask for creative energy.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I go in there and I'll say, just share with me what I need to know, what I need to produce, or whatever. Help me. And I close my records, and I know I'll and then I'll work whatever I'm going, I'm going to do.
I love that. Yeah. But it's also, and that's what I love, what you shared earlier about writing these words. The moment you hear something that sparks for you, to just write down the words, because that is what I noticed within my own process. Sometimes we have these amazing inspirations, but we don't have a piece of paper and a pen, and half hour later we're just taken by life and we forgot about. And I think that's beautiful what you shared when we received the inspiration, to have like a little booklet or something to immediately write it down, because then we already anchor it and have it in our awareness. And then and that's also aligned action. Again, going back to the cards, writing down is already an aligned action we can take to then
and a lot of people just use the cards too, because they're just one word. They use it for like a journaling prompt.
Beautiful.
I mean, so there's different ways, to use this.
But it's also a story of you, like as you shared in the beginning, like you thought you would never be able to do a card deck, or it was not in your But it shows that when we are willing, everything is possible. And when we truly have a vision and we honor that and we take the steps, and it doesn't have to be perfect. It's the same with, I created a card deck for my book, and I just for now, a dummy version, let the cards be printed somewhere. And I know in divine time, they will come out in other ways, but it's us taking each step, and then the next step will reveal itself. And through it, I love that with all your creative projects, also your journaling prompts you're making, and
and I created and then the other thing that I did, I created it's called an intention notebook or an intent, and that's on Amazon.
Yes,
but and I that's another thing I never thought I was going to do. And so I created that. So I thought, oh, and it's funny. It's kind of like, for me, it's kind of like, like a roller coaster, like at a, like at a amusement park or something.
Yeah.
You want to go on the roller, but then you're like,
yes,
you get white knuckles and say, why did I do this?
Why did I
do this? And then you take off, you go, you come back, and you're like, I want to go again.
Yes.
And so that's how it's like, once I get over that initial hump, which is part of the trust too.
Yes.
But
that is huge.
And then it's like, okay, I did this. I'm going to do a journal. I can do a journal for this, and then it's like, it
gets easier. Yeah, it is. Yeah. But it is each time, that's also what I noticed within my own creation. Each time, indeed, we need to get over that bump. And it is that strong vision or that strong desire that will push us over it, or will guide us, or will support us. Because with every new thing we are creating, old fears come up, or like limiting beliefs, because otherwise it would already been in our lives. It would already been manifested immediately. But something is still blocking us. That's why it's not there. So we need to be brave enough also to really face whatever is preventing us from going over that. And then, but I love the analogy of a ride, because that is beautiful, because it truly is the moment we are, and then it's going, and then we stand like we're doing it again, forgetting the struggles we went through, but it's like another round. But for everyone, for everyone tuning in who feels like creating something like that, what would you advise as first steps? What would you advise to do within themselves? Or
I would just say, do something small, do something, go back. I would say, go back when you were 6 or 7 years old.
Yes.
What did you love to do? Did you like to work with Play-Doh or clay, or did you like to sew, or did you like to draw on the sidewalk with chalk? Did you want to draw with colored pencils? I mean, and like for us, there were 6 kids in our family. I mean, like to have a nice new box of crayons, oh my God, go out and buy yourself a box of crayons and some colored paper, not white paper, buy different colored construction paper, cut things out, glue things, whatever it is. And you'll feel the dance of that creativity of that inner creator saying, yeah.
I love that. But also indeed giving yourself beautiful things, that you have a lot of ways to express yourself. But what if, because I already feel like a collective energy coming up right now, sharing, okay, it needs to be perfect, or I need to know what I'm creating, or I need to have an outline, or how is that for you? Or
well, again, I would just do whatever makes your heart sing. Go ahead and do it, because that's your true self coming out. And you know what? Give yourself permission to be a bad artist. Go ahead.
And
no one might see it.
Mind. No.
It's like tell yourself it's okay. I could be a bad artist. It's like, who would thought, like Van Gogh with swirly skies, and that was not the thing back then.
No.
That was that was not the thing to do, but that was in his heart. Do what's in your heart. You don't have to show anybody. Put it in a shoebox. Take your shoebox out every once in a while. Take your little treasures out and say, hey, you know what? we're our own worst critic.
It is. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
That's the other problem.
But it starts already with creating, because that is what I love with creating. And it can also be dancing or whatever, or singing, but it's giving our heart an outlet. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be for the world. It is already honoring ourselves, because that is what we do when we create. We really nourish ourselves and say, yes, let the inner child play again. Let it come out and express itself. And I think that's beautiful. And I think also just doing it, I think that's also a brave step. Just allowing yourself to sit with this paper and just express and just create whatever pops up.
Go ahead and take a class.
Yes.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
A dance class, take a singing lesson or whatever.
Yeah.
And you might not get the spark right away, like I did with my painting class. Mm-hmm. It took me a year, for everything to kind of come together, for the pieces to come together. But you don't know.
No.
You don't know. You get rid of how am I going to use this?
Yeah.
How am I going to get rid of that practical, why should I pay $100 for this class? Why do I have to, what am I going to get out of it? Do you want to do it? Do you love to do that?
Yeah. Yeah. And then it's also, that's what I noticed within my own journey with others. It's like going for that first response. So let's say a dancing class or a painting class comes on your path and you feel a yes in your heart. Go for that instead of the mind after 10 minutes kicking in and saying, oh, it's not useful, or it's going for the first response we feel within ourselves and really allowing ourselves to follow our joy. And even though we don't know where it leads us, because that is what I noticed, and also within my book, it's like the path of joy will lead us to our highest calling. But in the meanwhile, most of the time, we don't have all the puzzle pieces. So we do not necessarily know where it will lead us, but it will bring us joy. It will bring us excitement. It will take us out of resistance into flow. And in the moment of flow, inspiration can come in and beautiful insights. And then it's co-creating with these higher dimensions of ourselves. But I love, as you shared also, your cards are like vortexes. So people, when they hold them, they feel the energy. And that is because you're doing it from your heart. When you create from the heart and not from the mind, it gets a different energy template with it. And people can feel that instead of only from the practicality, trying to create something or,
I always say it comes from my heart and it goes down my hands, through my palms. Just I love that. And so people can feel that.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah. And it's also reminding, I think, everyone, we all have a message to bring to the world, and we all have, and it can be in different forms and in different ways and in different sizes, but it's tuning in. What is our heart passionate about? And what is the empowering message we are here to bring in our own unique way. And through you, it's through these beautiful creations. And I think it's honoring that also, because I think maybe a lot of people listening in will maybe also be within certain more 3D structures. And then it's allowing yourself to let yourself play with it and to take step by step to go into the direction of what your heart is guiding you.
Yeah.
Because you can also infuse, I don't know, for a time, you're like infusing that within the work you did. I don't know if you, like it can be in different dimensions of bringing inspiration to people that are in need of care or, I think that's beautiful.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I'm glad you brought that up because taking my leap of faith and I'm starting a healing circle. It's going to be online and I want it to be internationally. And it's going to be extremely affordable. Mm-hmm. We're going to meet like twice a month.
Yeah.
So the first part is going to be, kind of like a more inward. And then the second part will be more questions and answers, more interactive.
Yeah.
And I know that's part, just like the cards, I know that's what I'm to do. Yeah. All of the specifics are not done. But I know there's going to be some kind of creative nature to this as well.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
So I know there's, it's like percolating. It's kind of marinating and percolating and bubbling. And, I'm like, okay. Yep. And it's they're going to pull the lever on the roller coaster.
Yes, it's almost ready. Yes. But it's you showing up, because that's also what I noticed with new creations. I get the inspiration, and then it's me showing up. And the moment I show up, I get the next puzzle pieces. And I think that's also the new earth way. It is the divine feminine way of being present, because we can have also for programs and circles like this, you can have a whole 12-week outline or have the year outline or whatever. But in the end, it's also being present and seeing what is needed. And so I love that. Yeah. But I'm going to stick with that. The analogy of the roller coaster, that is because it's true. You can really already feel the momentum building. Yes. And then at one point, you don't know when you're up, but you feel it the moment you're going down. It's like, I love that. So for everyone tuning in, what would be your message of inspiration, of hope, or?
I would tell everybody to trust yourself. Don't diminish your power. You have all the information and wisdom you need.
Yeah.
And when you have that alignment in your soul.
Yes. Beautiful. Yes. Yeah. That's the essence. So beautiful. So how can people find your beautiful, also your necklace and the
everything's
journals?
on excuse me, the best way is just on my website.
Okay. Is, in the links below.
littleaspenstudios.com.
Yeah.
I think we can put the card deck on, if people want a digital deck, I'll put the link for that as well on there. So people don't have to pay, some people are physical people, some people are digital people.
Yeah.
So that's on it, but that's probably, or they can just always email me. It's like, hey,
great.
What were you saying about this again? Or
So below this video, audio, whatever way you are listening, there is the information how you can work with Laura and find out more. So thank you. Thank you for sharing your wisdom and your creative expression and giving me the insight of the beautiful roller coaster. I'm going to take that with me. And for everyone tuning in, follow your creative inspirations, however scary they may be. Follow your heart and let your heart lead the way. So I thank you for joining this podcast. And I'd love to see you in the next one, everyone. And you as well. Much love.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you for joining this episode of Soul Love. If you want to find out more about what we do, you can find it below. And I'll see you in the next episode. Much love.